I'm Jason Smith. I'm a civil rights lawyer from Cowtown, Panther City, Funky Town, Fort Worth, where the West begins. And I love progress, and I love Texas, and I love Progress Texas. It tells the other side of the story in Texas that people don't hear. It offers some balance in politics, and it amplifies so many voices that need to be heard in Texas for working people, for minorities, for people that are targeted. Progress Texas speaks out.
It is May 1st, or May Day, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm your host for the week, Tatum Owens, and here at Progress Texas, we amplify progressive values, leaders, and actions. Through our no paywall podcasts and digital media, we make Texas politics easy to understand and participate in. Lies in Texas are well funded by the far right, but your support for fact-based, progressive, independent media hands the mic to millions of Texans. Our thanks to Robert Whitehead, Mark Morrison, and Johnetta Byam for their ongoing, sustaining support. This May Day, many across the state will unite as part of a massive coalition striking from work, school, and/or shopping. This will continue into the weekend with rallies and marches as a show of global solidarity, building off the mass protest-led No Kings movement to bring Texans together in historic numbers, protesting this authoritarian takeover and the inhumane treatment of everyday Americans by ICE. The Supreme Court just tried to take power away from every American, thinking they can set a new standard for this people-powered democracy. But this May Day, Texans are doing whatever they can to prove them wrong, showing that justice is delivered by the people, not a group of 9 whose makeup was gamed to deliver prizes and gerrymandered maps for the president. Mia Valdez at MySA reminds us that today, also known as International Workers' Day, is, quote, an annual celebration honoring the history of workers' rights movements, with organizers often calling on community members not to attend work, school, or spend money as a way to demonstrate the impact of working-class power, unquote. The Texas AFL-CIO also has a list of actions you can join, so definitely check out the link in the show notes for where to get involved, what's going on with Texas workers, and remember, this is part of building toward a long-lasting movement, putting workers over billionaires and building toward progress, including a potential general strike to demand change for the better. And boy, do we need change for the better. Moving to a story we've been following this week that has come to a mournful end, Sarah Bahari at the Dallas Morning News reported that James Broadnax was executed by the state on April 30th at 6:47 p.m. Broadnax's final statement said, quote, no matter what you think of me, Texas got it wrong, he said of his case. Let this be the moment that sparks the revolution, unquote. Just an abomination of justice undelivered here by the Board of Pardons and Paroles and Governor Abbott, with Broadnax's wife and legal team saying, quote, it is a profoundly troubling statement about our system of justice that none of these decision makers were willing to take steps to grant James relief or even a stay or reprieve to investigate new facts showing that James did not kill Mr. Swan and Mr. Butler, unquote. His death marks the 3rd execution this year. Once again, please refer to the Texas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty for more information on how we can work together to ensure Texas puts an end to leading the nation, second only to Florida, in capital punishment. Next in our news lineup for today is a more bittersweet update from Emily Foxhall at the Texas Tribune, who continued her crucial reporting on the Camp Mystic investigative joint hearings. She delivered news that Mystic will remain closed this summer, allowing grieving families to not be re-traumatized and avoid reliving the floods that took the lives of 25 campers and 2 counselors, as well as hundreds others last July. The Eastland family has withdrawn their application for an operation license, which Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick was gunning for anyway, as of April 30th, and their doors will not reopen in the coming months as initially planned. As you'll recall, Monday and Tuesday's hearings held detailed accounts of the events that unfolded, showing that counselors and campers were left untrained and unprepared for the floods by the Eastlands. As this chapter closes, parents shared with Foxhall. Cece Stewart, a vocal advocate whose daughter, Seal, has still not been found and who sued the Eastlands earlier this year, trying to close down the camp, said, quote, we are grateful that no child will be placed in the Eastlands' care this summer, unquote. I think that goes for everyone listening, and another parent of those lost, Matthew Childress, whose daughter Chloe, a Camp Mystic counselor, died, said, quote, we never imagined a world without our daughters, and no decision made now can change that. As Camp Mystic steps back, we step forward with an unshakable commitment to remembrance, to accountability, and to ensuring our daughters' lives leave a lasting impact that protects others," unquote. Glad that the families can finally move forward with their healing without worrying about other children facing the fate their families have undergone. Best wishes to them, and glad for this win. As we discuss family resilience and move on to the next story, a reminder that by the end of today, the Comptroller's Office will finish notifying families of their status regarding voucher applications. Isaac Yu and Elizabeth Sander at the Houston Chronicle shared some insights into the varied reasons families have applied. One story that stuck out to me read as an indictment of the purposefully squeezed out, dire lack of funding for public education that will be exacerbated by public school students deferring to private schools instead, taking funding with them by attendance count. That story is in reference to one parent interviewed who is a Houston ISD employee that applied despite her concerns for public education. Quote, "Her own children's needs were simply better met elsewhere," she said. "If the voucher exists and my special needs children are being serviced outside the public school system, then I am definitely going to apply," she said, unquote. Paying $40K a year for her 3 children, and that's after scholarships and financial aid. Other applicants shared their reasonings that spanned partisan lines. These ranged from dissatisfaction with public school experience, including class size, high teacher turnover, and state takeovers degrading education and community, to less testing, to including religious teachings. Like for one parent whose kids attend a private Islamic school, later targeted by Dan Patrick and Kelly Hancock in their Islamophobic tirades. All in all, the uniting fact here is parents want better for their kids. Governor Greg Abbott and his flock of cherry-picked Republican legislators have denied children of their right to a quality education that's accessible to everyone. We know the impacts of this, that those who can just barely afford it will seek alternatives, noting that parents in the article would still have to pay more than half tuition, even including voucher payments, if attending high-cost, exclusive private schools. That's if they can even get in. More than half of all 250,000 applicants are likely to be turned away due to the program's $1 billion cap on funding. Here's to a well-funded public education system, I hope. As we finish out, I hope you listeners take this Friday, following blows to democracy from SCOTUS, take this May Day, and recognize that you're already doing so much in just staying informed. News can be overwhelming, especially in Texas, where bad actors profit off of suffering and degraded public goods provided in our education and justice systems and beyond. But there are so many amazing Texans working toward united families and communities, toward delivering justice for those imprisoned by ICE and in our justice system, toward progress for workers and for every issue important to us as progressives. This is solidarity, and with that comes recognizing that this is a hard path paved by the sacrifices of workers who came before us. So, as you go about this weekend, take with you the fact that you've already joined the fight just by listening in and following along with progress, which is what we're all here for, right? Here's to some positive news next week, but either way, we'll be here and look forward to you listening in. That's all for this week, but before you go, you can take a step further and show up to exercise your right to vote, ensuring our democracy will forever be for and by the people. There are not one but 2 Texas elections on the calendar, local city-level elections tomorrow on May 2nd, and the statewide primary runoffs on May 26th. For the midterm runoffs, early voting will begin on May 18th. More on all of this at our carefully crafted voting information resource, govotexas.org. And there's a nice online tool from the Texas Tribune that shows you exactly who will be on your runoff ballot based on your address and party. See that link in the show notes. And we have not one but 2 live events on the calendar right now in both Dallas and the Houston area. First will be in Cypress at the Very Cool Creekwood Grill for a live podcast taping with new Cy-Fair ISD board members. We want you there, but seating is limited and an RSVP is required to attend. This happens on the evening of Wednesday, May 20th. See the link in the show notes for a link to get registered. And thank you to our sponsors, Otis Evagaru and Sean Finney. Here at Progress Texas, we're also getting ready for our 16th anniversary celebration in Dallas with drinks, light bites, and a fun review of the highlights of our successes over the last few years. Save the date, which is Tuesday, June 16th, and see the link in the show notes to reserve your spot or sponsorship. Thank you to our generous sponsors already. That's Howard Cleon, Charles Zeller, Alex Andrade, the Honorable Dick Levine, Honorable Bill Peterson, and Mark Yagjian. And when you join us at those live events, make sure to snag some merch to match your values beforehand. Our web store is live and ready for you to grab some newly released Humans Against Abbott, Y'all Means All, and Resist shirts, stickers, and buttons. Hit the web store at progresstexas.org to support your favorite podcast network today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. Links to all of these original stories can be found in the show notes. When lives in Texas are well funded by the far right, your support for fact-based reporting is needed and appreciated. I'm Tatum. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Monday.